Hey everybody, this is Perch. We've got Ten of Swords, part 19 of 22. Only three more after this. This is Cable, number 6. And this is an interesting chapter. It's by Gary Duggan and Phil Nato, who's popped up in a couple places during this event. And I'll say on the offset that this issue both solves and highlights the problem, I think, that I've had with Ten of Swords. But we'll review this and go through it, and I'll kind of explain what I mean. We basically open up our issue on Krakoa, which is nice to check in on. And we have the council, and we're, they're waiting for Mr. Sinister. Kitty Pryde's making an Axl Rose joke. So tip of the hat there, always, pleased. But Sinister shows up. And we're again making jokes about the Cape, but they've gone to the Cape well just a little too much. Anyway, he shows up and he basically says, this is bad. Arakko is winning, and they are crazy and bad, and this is going to be a massive problem. And so the situation is dire. Professor X calls for Jean Grey, but she is not answering his telepathic call. And Mr. Sinister makes some snark about Kitty Pryde's fashion sense, which that's a fair shot. At any rate, he basically says, these maniacs we're fighting have been at war for thousands of years. They are basically, this is a losing battle for us. And he says nobody who went over there swinging a sword over their head is coming back. There is a massive problem here. Once these mutants chew through Saturnine and other worlds are going to come here, we need to blow up the gate. And this brings back the whole conflict. Krakoa is not allowing them to blow up the gate. I'm not sure Krakoa could completely stop it, but then I don't know. It makes me wonder if the conclusion of this is going to be the mutants off Krakoa, but I don't think they're going to do that either. Big stakes and big consequences isn't really in the cards, I think, coming out of this event. Even though they've said it is, the issues that precede this indicate that that's not really what we're in for. Sinister warns that holding the external gate is a mistake. It won't hold, and that it will cost us everything. So we look at kind of our timeline here. We've lost Captain Britain. We've lost Summoner. Most of the contests, most of the challenges have been jokey. They've been races and various kind of arm wrestling and other silly nonsense that have gone on. Dancing, drinking, couture, just a lot of kind of silliness, and it's one of those things where the joke has run kind of thin, where Saturnine is basically setting up these people to shenanigans. It's just a shenanigan contest, like, hey, it's a fight to the death. Oh, you killed Summoner and he died. It was a fight to the death, so the point goes to him, and it's a lot of silliness is what we've had here. So our comic gets us to Otherworld, and we see that Bei, the Blood Moon, who is now married to Doug, is about to face off with Cable. And wonder upon wonders, it looks like they are using swords. It's a really crazy thing. They've got their swords, and it looks like we're getting a crazy sword fight. We're reminded that the tournament is 17-16 with Arakko just slaughtering Krakoa, doing very well, but only one death, and it was Betsy, and it was a shenanigans death. She burst into little pieces of crystal like glass. It wasn't a death like we've seen in other places. So it seems unlikely that she is actually dead. It's more magical hijinks are at play. At any rate, so Cable, the contest starts, and Cable is holding his own against Bei, and he's able to kind of give her a little electric shock. We get kind of 2 pages of fight, and kind of what I highlight is kind of the complaint about this event is it's billed on being a high stakes life or death situation, and the actual sword fights have been very, very few and far between, which begs the question why everybody needed a sword, but then, and Bei kind of has more of a pike than a sword. Not to be specific about it. But then this fighting happens as it's almost like they're trying to get through it as rapidly as possible so they could get to the story. And so this is really no different, where they are having the fight. Cable gets the upper hand, but then he hesitates because he doesn't want to have Doug watch Bei die. He's ready to kill her, but he doesn't want Doug, her husband, to watch. Why he's caring about this after they've been married for, I don't know, how long has it been? 6 hours? Nobody knows. At any rate, this hesitation causes Bei to stop him, beat Cable up, stuff him in the mud, embarrass him, break his arm, and then get ready to slaughter him. And Doug says, "Stop, the kid's beat." And Saturnine says, "A fight's to the death, but this is a death of the spirit." And that she's basically saying, we've crushed Cable's spirit. Now, that's a little ridiculous. Cable, young and old, have been through tougher situations, so losing a fight, having your arm broken, this doesn't seem as high a stakes. Just the emotional stakes are not here to make this moment what they're saying it is. They're telling us that Cable has been broken, his face is muddy, and it's bad, but, it's been 3 pages. You have not brought the emotional stakes to actually deliver on that particular promise. So I'm gonna say no to that. But anyway, so this means Arakko gets another point, and Cable goes off to kind of sulk, and he gets in touch. We learn that Jean Grey and Cyclops have been talking to Cable the whole time. And Cable, gives them the update that we're down 18-6. It's dire. He failed. Cable's crying, and he's like, he reveals that Doug's got married. That's confusing. And then just as he's basically saying, they're going to invade, we're losing, it's bad. Saturnine comes over and says, "I've tolerated the spying for long enough." They made Saturnine into this unstoppable, can do anything character that is it is taking away a lot of what made Saturnine interesting in the old Claremont comics. It's just not, I don't know, she's become the, like, it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's not, they've taken away the stakes in this comic. So the connection is severed. Jean and Cyclops are like, let's go get it, let's go fix it. They're going to run their own plan. And we saw that they were talking about this before. It's nice to see Cyclops and Jean just having a relationship and being on the same page. That's cool. I guess we're also tying in that Jean sleeping with Wolverine, or maybe Cyclops too. I don't know. That's not addressed here. So we move on from that sword battle to, wonder upon wonders, another sword battle. And this is going to be Gorgon versus the White Sword. Now, Gorgon was the Star Trek Red Shirt character in this that, you pretty much figured was going to die. And so as they get ready to battle, what is about to happen again highlights both the coolness of what this event could have been, should have been, and also the flaw in having a bunch of shenanigan, jokey fights. So, the White Sword basically brings up all the people who have died for him in the past. It's he resurrects them like zombies. He sits down and he says, "You will face me after you make it through my swords, 100 of them." And so he resurrects these people up, and Gorgon just starts hacking through. So he sends 1, and then 2 at a time, and then 3 at a time, and then more. And Gorgon is just mowing them down. And this is a great sequence for Gorgon. Gorgon is coming off like a super badass here, locking people into stone, chopping them up. He gets his eyes pierced, and it's super bloody and terrible. But then you see him face like an army of what would be about 90 or so characters, and Gorgon just comes in and just starts hacking away at them. And as he's doing this, Saturnine points out that she's counting a point for everyone Gorgon is killing. Why this is happening, nobody knows. But so she is basically saying Gorgon has slain 13, and now Krakoa is ahead, 19-18. So the points are like, screw it. Now suddenly Gorgon alone has put 13 points up on the board, and for the first time in this event has got Krakoa leading things. And so War is like, oh crap, curse you, stop him before he does any damage. Now, this also begs the question, if Arakko fails in this contest, they're just going to invade anyway. Like it's like, why are they beholden to any of this nonsense? Is an open question. But this is again the problem where you got Saturnine is like this all-powerful god. For some reason, they've elevated her up to this level where she sits above everything, and that diminishes the threat of these other characters. So realizing that White Sword is basically stacking the deck now for Krakoa, he says, "I was waiting for you to grovel," and he enters the battle himself. Gorgon is weakened, his eyes are bloody. He's, for some reason, Phil Nato has drawn him super emaciated, and he's thin and weak all of a sudden, and White Sword basically comes over and just stabs him in the chest. And Gorgon dies, in theory. I mean, he's sitting there bloody, so probably. And Apocalypse said, "This is how a mutant dies, children." And with that death, 1 point award to Rocco, and the score is even at 19-19. And we're heading to our next challenge, maybe our final challenge. He doesn't say final challenge, but we're headed to the next contest, which is Apocalypse versus Genesis. And they're facing off with swords again. So this issue gives us, 2 and the promise of a third sword fight. We get a little page at the end of the battle log of who scored what points, and reading over it is just another reminder of the screwed up aspect of this entire event. And that is just a whole different problem. I mean, it's meant to be kind of clever. See, you thought you were getting this and you're actually getting this. It's defying expectations. But this issue showed out that you could actually have some high stakes sword stuff, but because we did all the stuff before it kind of, it blunts a lot of what was going on. So it's not a bad issue. Again, if you kind of close your eyes and you picture if all the fights had been kind of like this with these kinds of stakes and this kind of non-silliness, you might have had a more powerful event. I also do think you have a problem with Saturnine. But 3 more issues left to go. What do you think of this issue? Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And thanks for listening.